Come on in. Good morning and welcome to Trans-West Truck Trailer RV. My name is Katie O'Neill and I am so excited to show you today's two RVs. We are looking at the full paint finish for both the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter and also on the EKKO, and also the Ford Transit EKKO as well. So we're looking at two coaches now available from Winnebago in a full paint finish. This is very exciting. Of course, the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter EKKO, the 23A, has been available, 23B has been available for about the last 12 months. This is one of our first 22As on the Ford Transit chassis to be available in the full paint finish. The other exciting feature is we're going to be looking at the boho interior, which is our launch interior, and also a really cool retro throwback for this product. So this is a single battery with a generator comparison. Of course, both products are available in pop tops, and both products are available with two batteries and no generator. The other option you would have would be to get a generator and a battery on board at the time of purchase, and then to have us install a second battery for you so you can have the best of all worlds, if you would, on either one of the two products. So as we go to the back, go ahead, Jody, take her on back. I love to start my RV videos from the inside out. I have everything prepped so you can see underneath both sides of these beds. And I want to just talk a little bit about some of the different measurements that you're going to have. So this coach is a 23-foot coach versus a 24.5-foot coach on the Mercedes-Benz. So just a little shorter. The length of the beds is 76 inches on the EKKO in the Transit chassis and 80 inches on the bed of the Mercedes chassis. But both of them are going to have really nice hanging areas on either side. So you can see all of your drawer space here. Both have a nice tray where you could keep a wallet, maybe some of your valuables. Also a deep pocket here. For me, probably things that are more bulky like hiking boots and tennis shoes, and then hanging space on either side. And all of these have these pause latches where basically when you pull the latch, it drops down, and then when it's in, it clicks and holds it into place. Now keep in mind, Winnebago manufactures about 75% of this product, and where that's important is they can really change the shape of, for instance, the water tanks. They can change the shape of all of the different componentry when it comes to the plastic window surrounds, and they can really give you a custom feel. Now, as you can see, I've got the dual pane acrylic window popped out here, and I also have the screen pulled. If I wanted to, I could even go as far as to have half and half, or I could open it all the way. And then one of the things I really like about this coach is if I pop this all the way up and come down, I don't have to close it all the way. I can leave it open just a bit. And if I do this, it's completely secured, but there's just a little gap here giving me the fresh air in this coach. And I am gonna leave this open today because it's already warm here in Colorado in August. You just never know what you're gonna come up with, and we've got a really nice day. So as you can see, your air conditioners here in the rear. The GE profile, of course, is going to give you great temperature control. And Odie, if you just step back for just a quick second, one of the things that's really nice about this is you can see when you put this insert here into this bedroom area and close this curtain, you're going to be able to keep all of that cool air in your bedroom, so you don't have to worry about heating the entire coach. Now on this side, you'll see no deep pockets, but still plenty of top shelf storage there. Underneath this side, of course, we've got our water heater, our winterization. So a little less of that deep pocket storage, but still a nice place to hide some things. And then underneath both of these mattresses, you're gonna find this Frioli. It's basically like a plastic box spring, and it really makes a difference. The other thing that's interesting about this coach is that this is actually a cool wicking mattress. So to the touch, it will actually help to maintain a cooler temperature. And of course, if you've been camping, you know, that's why it's nice to have twin beds. You can put the middle in when you want to cuddle, but if you want to stay nice and cool, sometimes having a little space in between you helps. On both sides, you're going to have a ton of storage up on top. So as you can see, you've got these nice springs that keep everything open when you need it to be open. There's also ports that go through not only to the roof, but also come out the bottom here so that you can have your AirPods or, you know, your iPad, whatever you like to, either plugged into the 110 outlets here, or your two USBs, or your 12 volt here as well. We've also got some nice reading lights, and they have both white and blue light. So if you're looking for that blue light experience late at night so you don't have that sleep disruption that they talk about, then that's a great feature for you there. And then like I mentioned, there's equal amount of storage on both sides. And these are felt lined, so they are gonna be nice and quiet going down the road, helping you to avoid those rattles. So as we go back into the center of this coach, we're going to find something that's very similar in both products. It's going to be this amazing 2-for-1 bathroom. A lot of people are just absolutely astounded when they get in here and they see that they have this huge space. Both coaches are 6 feet tall, 8 inches on the inside. I get a lot of people who estimate that they're 7 feet tall. That's not correct. 6'8" is the height here, but if you are under 6'8", you should have plenty of room. You've got the curtain here that we can go around this area, and that is because you have also your shower in the same space here. So this is a really, really nice feature of this coach. So for those of you that are looking for a big space that would like to come in to their RV and have plenty of room to take a shower without having to worry about getting your toilet paper wet, you have that in this RV. You also have some cool little things like some places to hang your towels. So when you go ahead and close this, they're on the back side waiting for you to get ready for your next shower. So a great facility here. Now, one thing to note is, so here where you flush your toilet, if your flush is open, you may not be able to pull your cassette out. So we just want to make sure we mention that. And then also you'll see here, if your coach tanks needed to be changed, so in other words, if your black water was starting to get filled, you would see that turn to a red display on the dial there, so you would know that it was time to change your tank. The other thing is that you've got a water pump access right here, so you will use that little blue button, fill the toilet, just like you would on a normal toilet, and then also flush it, just like you would on a normal toilet. The big difference in this being that when you do that, it's not like a porta potty. It actually has water that goes into it. It flushes like a normal toilet. And then here you can see a great place to be able to keep, you know, if you've got an electric toothbrush, if you've got, you know, your toothpaste or hairspray, all of those things. This bathroom really delivers for something that is being built on a Transit or a Sprinter chassis. It's really pretty fantastic. Your 5.3 cubic foot compression refrigerator is the same on both as well. They are located on opposite sides of the coach. So on the Transit chassis, it's going to be starboard side. They both have the nice butter dish, a dedicated freezer. They both have night mode, so you can actually hold this down, wait till it flashes, and then you can actually set it so that you have your coach set to night mode. That would give you a quieter run of your refrigerator at night. A difference worth pointing out is going to be here. You'll have the Greystone microwave in the EKKO as opposed to a microwave and convection oven. So far, the answer I've been told for people who've asked if they can modify this is no. You need to go ahead and stick with your Greystone. That being said, you could very easily get a toaster oven into this coach if you wanted to. You've got plenty of room here on the cooktop. Underneath, we've got the Suburban stove. Another nice feature of this, a lot of people go, oh man, I really want a true induction. Dude, you can get a really inexpensive, great true induction cooktop that you could set right on top of this cooktop. But one of the things that's really nice about the Ford Transit chassis is that the generator is actually powered by the gas in the coach. This is a gas engine versus the diesel engine on the Mercedes. So in saying that, you're going to reserve a good deal of your propane if you're not having to use it for your generator. And if you were trying to boondock and you wanted to have something where you had a little less draw, you could use your generator to charge your batteries. Of course, you've got that nice Lithionics battery. That in turn powers your air conditioning, all the power throughout the coach. And then on top of it, you can conserve your fuel by using your propane cooktop on the inside. So for boondocking, this has got a very nice setup. Both coaches are going to have solar as well. Both coaches have a whole house water filter that's mounted down here underneath. It's the Culligan man, so if you hear the Culligan man calling you, that's why. You've got your 110 outlets here on this side as well as over here. So if you're trying to run a coffee pot or a toaster oven or a rice cooker, any of those things, you'll see that you have that. Also a nice drawer here for your silverware and maybe some spatulas. And then down below a nice deep drawer here where you can keep the rest of your cooking supplies, maybe some dish towels And then over here on the Transit chassis, you have an EKKO pantry that's a bit larger than it is on the Mercedes. And these do have those adjustable shelves that just slide up, and you can put them into whatever area you'd like. It is worth mentioning that this is a pivoted section here, so it's not going to be all the way back straight across. It mirrors the wall here underneath the Flying W. The Flying W is designed by Winnebago for hanging, in this case, probably a raincoat, maybe an umbrella, maybe a dog leash, whereas in the bathroom it might be for a washcloth. It's hard to say, whatever floats your boat. And then this compartment up here is really good for keeping probably a coffee pot, maybe if you do a French press, any of those types of things. And then your taller cooking supplies, maybe balsamic vinegar, olive oil, and the like. Now, right here underneath the sink, again, this is that boho red, which has got this really kind of fun retro feel to it. You have your, oh, look at, there's your part number. You have your bamboo cutting board on top of your sink cover. And on this note, because the manufacturing by Winnebago is done in-house, you could say, my dog ate this. I need 80865, and that's going to be this part number for this color and this construction of this cooktop, and you can actually have them remanufacture it for you. But what's really nice is that this sink here is, of course, stainless steel, but you also have a spray and pour feature faucet here. And then again, these windows that open right next to your cooktop, that you can open and close for your lighting. And then of course we have our great puck lights throughout the coach. These are just really handy for giving you good illumination where you're looking for it, but also a low energy draw as well. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is I really love the accent lights that they have on the ceiling here. Gives the coach a very first class, high class feel. Now this cabinet here is gargantuan. You've got a 100-pound weight rating on this. As you can see, it's reinforced. And keep in mind, anytime you see anything that's cut out of steel and then coated, it's oftentimes E-coated, which means it goes through 10 different vats where it's submerged, and it's actually molecularly adhered to the metal. So it doesn't have any kind of overspray or underspray where you might have missed something because you were painting it. It's actually submerged into a liquid that electrically, on the molecular level, adheres that paint to that metallic surface. Now this is going to be the biggest difference between the two coaches from a seating standpoint. I get a lot of people that come in and they have this assumption that the Mercedes-Benz is going to be a better driving, stronger, more powerful coach. That is not correct. This 3.5 liter V6 EcoBoost with the 10-speed transmission has more horsepower and torque than the Mercedes-Benz. It's also got a much lower profile. Plenty of ground clearance like you would expect. Like if you had a Subaru Impreza, you know, hatchback that you took camping, this would get to a very similar level of places. If you want something that's got more of that off-road girth, of course you're going to look at the Mercedes-Benz chassis, but keep in mind, for highway driving, acceleration, and maneuverability, every single EKKO video that you watch will talk about the fact that this has a better prowess on the freeway. The other difference with this coach is that there's a seating area here. I have this, I'm going to show this to you in both coaches. In this seating area, you have a table where you can flip this around. In both coaches, the table stows away. In both coaches, there's an extra table setting. So you can see, I wanted to show this because I think it's really clever. So this is where the table stores. And then this is how it goes on. So the table stores there, and then it goes on just like this. I'm gonna make sure I've got it open. And then you can lock that into place. So you could have two people with a really large eating surface on both areas, or you could actually have a total of 4 people. This chair would have to turn around. You'd share the smaller table there. The table in the EKKO on the Transit chassis is definitely wider, so it's got a little more room. But when you see the Mercedes-Benz configuration, there's actually a huge table that you could put it, up and have it sit 5 instead of 4. So this is going to be your 4-person seating configuration. And then over here on the door, I just wanted to point out, this is where we keep the measurements and the weight capacities for these coaches. Both of these coaches have a 1,700 pound weight capacity, which is really, really impressive, to be honest with you. When you get into a lot of the Wayfarers and things like that, you might have less than 1,000 pounds of weight capacity. And when you're towing a vehicle It's got a 5,000 maximum tow capacity, but this coach can actually hold not only your tow vehicle, but all of your lawn chairs, your bikes, things like that. And the cool thing about both of these platforms is that you have room for those things. Now on this Transit chassis, I'm just gonna go ahead and push the start button here. We're not gonna spend too much time here. The coach is really mad that I have my seat turned around. So maybe what I should do is, let's go ahead and just, since we've shown you how it works. Yeah, she does not like it when you have your seat turned around. So both of these coaches are gonna have your Apple CarPlay and your Android Auto interface. They've got a nice automatic climate control, so you're not turning your heat on and having it run into perpetuity. You've got navigation built into them. You can actually operate an app for forward on this and have a remote start. One of the big differences though is going to be that this is not that rear view mirror that has the integrated backup camera in it. That is a Mercedes-Benz feature in 2026. Both coaches are going to have really nice steering wheel controls. Both coaches are going to have your lane tracking package. Both have automatic distance control. Both of these coaches are really well outfitted. And keep in mind, both of these products are going to be used as work vehicles very frequently. And I know a lot of people say, well, why does that affect me? Well, the reason it affects you is because when you have, look at that cool interface there. When you have a coach that actually has the predilection to be a work vehicle, they're made extra safe and convenient for people that are in them. This is a mobile office, right? You've got, Jack and John might be plumbers, and in this coach, so many hours out of the day, it has to have a ton of storage up here for you to keep everything. There's USB ports up top. There's also 12-volt ports. There's cup holders throughout the cab. So there's some on the left, there's some here in the center. There's even like a little Red Bull cup holder right there. Again, type A and type C ports throughout the coach. In both coaches, you'll have a real glove compartment, which is very nice. So like I said, in both of these vehicles, you're going to have blind spot assist. You're going to have your lane tracking package, your distance-based cruise control. It really just depends on if you're a Ford guy or a Mercedes guy. Do you like American cars or are you into German? The other thing to think about too is that from a servicing standpoint, you will have more readily available Ford stores across the country as you're going to get your coach serviced. All of that being said, you also have maybe more of a white glove approach when you are working with the Mercedes-Benz product line. Okay, so now that we're through this one, I do have the inserts up in the Mercedes, but there's an additional curtain that I don't have hanging here. We have it stowed right here. So when we get to the Mercedes, you'll see that it is also Mylar backed. So this curtain snaps into place, and this would actually shield this entire front area. It goes around, it has a little separator so you can get into the front cab area. But it's very convenient because it blocks out all of that light. And keep in mind, although we have acrylic windows throughout this coach that are dual pane, we do not have dual pane windows in the front cab of this coach. So the biggest thing with the EKKO product is our most weatherproof product available on the open market. And both of these coaches are all-wheel drive. So both of these coaches are really manufactured for people who want to catch first chair up at A Basin and maybe want to go surfing all season long down in Baja. It's going to keep the heat out and keep the warm in. So these are really good products for you depending on where you'd like to go, and they're very versatile. But in adding that layer of protection both against heat or cold, depending on what your climate is, for this, and separating it, but still giving you access to things like your TV or your Blu-ray player, your LED light up here above. It's a very nice combination in both products that allows you to function with this coach when you're trying to get some extra shut-eye or just trying to keep that insulative property up and running. So as we go out here, I've got the awning out at the Mercedes product. I don't have it out here, but as we go down these stairs, we're going to pass through one of my favorite things. I love this door. So this has got a nice solid metal surface on the inside and your screen is on the outside. It also has the ability, you can close this, lock it, right? So now that's locked into place. And then you have a deadbolt. So you can actually deadbolt your screen door shut so that you can leave your screen shut at night, have a completely, this is a metal surface, it's not plastic, so a completely secure situation here where you can have, as you can see, the fresh air circulating throughout the coach. Now on this full paint finish, both of these coaches have got a nice dark gray metallic finish. Please keep in mind, we just did a full wrap. We do a lot of stuff for Owl. We are a certified Owl dealership, but Owl is literally within half mile from our store. So a lot of times if we have any kind of things being installed by or for Owl, we'll have them done there. All that being said, if you've seen that great wrap that we did with the topographical map, we can do that on this product for you for actually a little bit less than the full paint finish. So if you want something that's, you know, specific to your industry, whether it's a race team, maybe if you're a sharpshooter, hi Rick Hurd, he's out there. Check out his channel. He's an amazing, amazing gunsmith. But if you want to get your product advertised on the side of your coach, we can offer that to you here at this dealership. We are 100% full service. Now underneath here, you'll see your fresh tank water drain is down on the left. And then right above that is your outdoor shower with hot and cold water. So an amazing feature of this coach. And then as you can see, I've got a latch on this to hold it open, but see these pause latches? So when these go into place, when I twist them, they're actually going to twist into place, and then I can lock them. And I know that it's closed because they actually seal that door in just a little bit. And then here to the left of your first cargo door, you have your 110 and, I'm sorry, your cable and your 12 volt input here, and then also your 110 outlets up here. And you'll notice there's got kind of a nice little rain shield. So if you do have something plugged in, there's something above them keeping the water from going into that location. Here in the back, you'll notice that both coaches are going to, or both of these RVs are going to have dualies. So you're going to have a total of 6 tires on this coach. These are mud and snow rated tires, so there's no need to modify those when you take delivery. And then the big thing that really revolutionizes this product, there's 2, there's 3, there's like 12. The bathroom, but this right here, having the ability to change out your propane system and not have to go to a propane filling station to fill your propane is super clutch. And again, so your Truma system is going to be running off of propane, but your generator is going to be running off of the gas tank, which is really nice. So this is going to be for your tankless hot water heater as well as for your furnace. And keep in mind, there's a cartridge in here that you can actually pay a little extra money for that has a heating element. So if you are going to be camping in, ooh, we have the power on this. Let's go ahead and turn that off. So if you are going to be camping in a place where you are, super cold weather and you want to keep that from freezing, there is an element that you can purchase. It's under $500. You can get it at Amazon. It's a great investment for anybody who's looking for a weatherproof coach experience. And keep in mind, when I say weatherproof, this is the thickness of the foam throughout this entire coach. It's really quite amazing. And then when you get back here, let's just show you the quick connect really quick. There's that funny quick connect. Oh, one thing I want to mention, if you want to only run this side, you can switch over the toggle, just run this for the coach, and then you could drop a line through and out so that you're not regulated. This is a regulated outlet here for your propane. If you want to have, for instance, your Camp Chef going directly off of the propane tank, because you've got 2 tanks here, you can do that on this coach. So freaking cool. This coach is really, really amazing. And to have the choice of your chassis is just another benefit. Now the MOLLE panel here is not magnetic. So if you thought it was, it's not. But what's cool is that you can use carabiners here. This might be the side where you keep all of your barbecue utensils, where the other one might be the side where you keep all of the supplies, for instance, for your bikes, maybe your gloves, your helmets, and the like. And then keep in mind, the compartments here, one is taller and more narrow, and then one is wider. I feel like this is going to be something for somebody who's maybe more of a desert type of guy who wants to get their mountain bikes here in the back. Not having such a wide shelf gives you a little bit more room to put things in here, whereas the Mercedes-Benz chassis, of course, gives you the capacity to keep your snowboards. It's got what I call a snowboard shelf in the back. This is for your blind spot monitor. Your ladder that goes to the top will take you up. So just to talk about this, I know we talked a little bit about the differences between chassis, but 310 horsepower on this bad boy, 400 foot-pounds of torque. It's pretty impressive. And then I always want to make sure I'm reading off of this because I want to make sure I'm getting this right. So the solar on the top of this coach is going to be 455 watts versus 535 on the Mercedes-Benz chassis for the EKKO. Both have these integrated LED lights in the rear for quicker braking time. In both compartments, you're going to have a compartment that has really nice puck lighting, like you can see here. And then a lot of what Mercedes and EKKO and Transit have to offer you in terms of insulative properties are the same. Both of them have these heat compartments in the back. They both have outlets here. They both have 12 volts here. And then both of them are going to have, you know, for instance, a nice spray hose that you could attach to any of the outdoor showers, and there are several. And then you've also got your D-rings can come in here, so you've got your L-track throughout the coach. And that's going to be located here, and then also down here at the base of the floor on either side. So nice tie down points throughout. And then MOLLE panel on both sides. I have a client right now, he's actually putting the MOLLE panel on the outside of the doors as well as the inside because they're easier to open that way. The trick though is this is always the door that you can get open. And what happens is this rubber grommet, your heat seal here, when it gets hot in the sun, sometimes it gets a little sticky and they're hard to get open. But if you open this one first with the handle, you can push the other two open. On that note, another great feature of this coach is the fact that both of them are going to have this great water bay where you can actually use your gravity fill here. Another outdoor shower, so you've got one on both sides. One of the nice things that Winnebago does so well is they make it very easy for you to see how you would operate your coach water system while dry camping, while filling it, while on city water, while siphoning it, or while winterizing it. Everything is super simple. When you've got your heat on, you've got a little red light telling you that everything's on. And then you have access to city water here. And underneath here, you can see, now keep in mind, this is just a gray tank drain, right? But you can run your gray tank through, you've got a nice compartment, but you can also run your city water hose through this compartment here. One thing I'll tell you is if you look at the shape of this, there's a little cutout right here. I don't know, can you see that, Jody? So if you see this, I can install one of these little guys right here on this door. And what's interesting about that is if I do that, if I install a little outlet plug right there on the door, I'm right next to an outlet, right? So I've got 110. I can run underneath through this little outlet the cord for your Starlink, and you can either bring it out and put it out, you know, into the campground away from the coach, somewhere out from underneath the trees, or if you're not in a tree-lined area, you can run it here along the bumper and then just up here onto your ladder. So if you're looking to have Starlink on this coach, a lot of times I tell people, don't rely too heavily on solar. If it's hot, you're gonna try to park under a tree. One of the benefits that we have here at Transwest, this is our sold coach alley, but look at those, they're all underneath these great canopies, keeping them nice and cool. And as you can imagine, what's the downside? They're not getting any solar. So on that note, you've got a solar port input that you can use. That solar port input would allow you to run an array outside from underneath the trees. It's right here. You also, of course, have your 30 amp. And when this is on, if you've got your 30 amp engaged, this is all green. If the G is red, it means that your power source is not good. This is your Truma vent for your furnace. But so, like I said, you can run this coach in a fashion where you could still park under a tree. And because it has a generator, if you don't have access to 30 amp and you don't have a solar array that, you know, is going to be powerful enough to keep your coach charged, the benefit of this coach is that it has this generator. Now, one of the things that's really important to understand about having a generator is at the end of the day, all we're after is we're just after filling our batteries. So being able to fill your batteries with a generator is really convenient. One of the things we talk about a lot in this industry is it's really funny that you've got a bunch of people that are super environmental that want to get out there and camp that talk about puffing their coach to charge it. guys, that's just not good for the environment. Like leaving your coach running so your second alternator is charging your batteries, not cool. All of that being said, having a generator, you don't have to worry about that. And then if you'd like to add the second battery, I can add it right there into the compartment. So this has got the 320 amp Lithionics battery. Very nice app available again for not only your coach, you know, whether it be the Mercedes-Benz app or the Ford app, but also a Lithionics app. And then on that note, you also have one for Carefree awnings as well. Oh, is that the right one? There we go. Okay. So I just want to show you the inside here. So your fueling is done right here. No DEF necessary, of course. You're going to have a manual seat. So as you can see there, it is manual. But as I mentioned earlier, this is a very road-worthy coach. If you're looking for something for a lower entry point, easier access to the driver's cab, and more of a car-like experience, the Transit might be to your like. I love the fact that I can come out here and actually, if it's raining, just lift those up and close them. Oh, and I want to show you under the hood. So we will look just quickly. Uh-oh, maybe. Battery disconnect. Oh shoot, Jody. There it is. Oh, always hidden. Okay, after 25 years of being in the car industry, you'd think I could just pop a hood on any of these things, but they're always a little different. Okay, so here we have your, we've got your engine here. Again, this is the 3.5 liter EcoBoost, and easy to access fill for your washer fluid. And then as you can see, this coach has got a nice low stature. So if you wanted to be able to clean your windshield off after you get done with a road trip, you can just really easily reach up there. But there's your front cameras. Now that in contrast to the Mercedes-Benz front, which is quite a bit higher, you have a step here so that you can clean your windshield off here. And then please note also that in the 2026 model, a lot of things have changed. One of them is going to be that the camera system for your navigation and drive assist features has been moved down below. So you still have a rain sensing wiper up here. I actually almost missed that on my last video. That is actually, that little guy there it's a light diode, and basically as water crosses over it, it changes the number of wipes your coach has. It's not a camera. The cameras are now down here. But as I mentioned earlier, this is a Mylar backed shade, keeping this coach nice and cool. Both of these coaches are gonna have breakaway mirrors. They both have turn indicators in the coach, and then both of them are gonna have blind spot assist. Now this one's gonna have a little triangle versus the Ford one, which is like a little guy with like some little wavy lines on the outside. Both have this great camera here, but again, both are gonna be breakaway. And then also, both of them have a fuel door right here. So you can see your diesel comes in here. One of the main differences here is that you're going to have a heated steering wheel on the Mercedes-Benz chassis. So a little more luxury, about $30,000 more in cost overall. You're going to have paddle shifters. You're going to have heated seats. And then you're also going to have memory programmable seats on this coach as well. Both coaches will have power mirrors. Both coaches have power windows. Both coaches are alarmed when you lock them. And then as I mentioned earlier, both coaches are going to have blind spot, lane tracking, and distance-based cruise control. The Mercedes-Benz product actually kind of, I would say that they coined that phrase with Distronic back in 2003, I think, is when that actually came out. I was working for them at this point in time. So 1,323 pounds of capacity on this coach versus 1,700, but both are very impressive. As you can see here, I can always tell when I have a generator because I got that little generator exhaust pipe coming out, but here I have access to having a second battery installed if I'd like. Again, both of these coaches are going to be the full paint finish. Both of them will have the juniper wood interior. The difference on this Mercedes-Benz is that this is a generator and battery powered Sprinter with the juniper interior versus the boho red interior. This wheel pump is the same on both. This is basically just pumping the shower drainage water back up into the gray tank area. And then both of these are gonna have a cassette toilet. So I know we talked briefly about the fact that this is going to be running off of your propane tank, but that is a difference between the two coaches. There is no diesel generator available on an EKKO, just to get that question out there early on, because I get that a lot. But both of these coaches are able to be winterized, right? So first chair, we talked about that. Dude, you can't have a coach that's full of water that freezes. You have to winterize your vehicle if you're going to leave it unattended and not have it with some kind of heat source keeping everything from freezing. That being said, you can leave your coach winterized, and in both of these situations, you've got this great situation where you can take this into any dump station, just twist the top off and dump it, and you can have a place where you could definitely not only use, like, so let's say that you're staying at Keystone or Copper. You can have heat, you can keep your water in gallon jugs in your 5.3 cubic foot compression refrigerator, right, to keep it from freezing. You can turn your furnace on and off. You can have a place to use the restroom. And if you're brushing your teeth and you don't want to spit your toothpaste out in the parking lot, you can do it in the toilet. So no, you're not going to wash your face and use the sink, but you could very easily use your induction cooktop to heat some water to wash your face, to be able to have hot water to brush your teeth, and maybe a cup of tea. All of those things, you know, you wouldn't be showering in your coach, but gosh, I'll tell you, if you wanted to stay a day or two up at Copper and have a place where you could get ready first thing in the morning and then come down, strip off your, skivvies and get ready to go hang out in the lodge for a while, and then not have to drive home and sleep it off in the coach, dude, this is your thing. And these are really great to have en masse. You could have 2 or 3 of these instead of just having one, and having 2. If someone tries to steal your shit, first of all, there's a lock. But second of all, if it freezes, you can go ahead and just have that extra cassette toilet on hand, and you don't have to be sitting out there in the parking lot with a blow dryer trying to clean out your water tank. Okay, so the Molly panel here, again, on both sides. This is what I was talking about when I said I thought that this might be more of a snowboarder's type of setup or a skier's setup. Both of these coaches have the same exterior width of 7 feet 2 inches wide. Doors here are going to make it just a little bit more narrow, so probably about 6.5 inches or 6.5 feet of cargo length across. But if you had a snowboard, needless to say, this would be a better location for you. On a bike, from a bike level, you've got a wider entry port, but it's also a little lower. And then with this shelf out here, it may not be as user friendly. All of that being said, if you pop your wheel off, I think you could get anything into this space. And again, both of these coaches have puck lights in the rear, 110 outlets on both sides, as well as 12 volts, and plenty of room to keep things like your lawn chairs, your paddle boards, all of the supplies that you would want to have while you're going down the road. Now, this is another change for 2026. You'll see that the blind spot radars are definitely a little more svelte, a little more aerodynamic, if you were. They were a little bulky in the previous Mercedes-Benz iteration. Both of these coaches are going to have a very similar water bay where you have a hot and cold outdoor shower. You've got your cable input. You've also got a portable satellite dish input here. So again, if you wanted to run that cord down and run a dish out, you could. And then again, nice place to hang some towels, some gloves, and both of them are going to have the gravity fill as well as the outdoor light, giving you illumination while you're getting set up after you've arrived to your destination. And then again, both coaches are going to have the solar array input here, as well as your Glow Connect for your 30 amp supply, and then your Truma Vario heat. Now keep in mind, this is a gold standard coach on both EKKOs. So what that means is that Truma actually goes through and measures how long it takes to heat and how long it can stay warm. And both the Ford Transit and the Mercedes-Benz EKKO are gold standard in terms of heat retention and ability to stay warm while you're camping. And being that this is such an all-season coach, with both of these being all-wheel drive, I mean, it's just amazing. You would not believe how many of these EKKOs have gone to Alaska. Now, as I close this, we'll just look down below. Again, 5,000 pound weight rating. But if you go down here to this spare tire, to the bottom of that metal bracket is 13 inches. So your official measurements on this coach, because of the pumpkin underneath, are 8.5 and 10.5 inches. But keep in mind, that pumpkin, which is operating your all-wheel drive system for the Mercedes, that is in between the tires. So your biggest argument or your biggest fight with ground clearance is really gonna start back here for the most part at this rear tire. And again, that measurement to the top or to the bottom of the basket carrying the spare tires, 13 inches. You've got your 7-pin connector back here, so of course that's nice to have that set up. And again, we can put that grommet in, so you could run Starlink here. There is your dedicated camera for your rear view camera that's integrated into the mirror. So on the Mercedes-Benz product, you get a few things. You get leather seats, you get heated seats, you get a heated steering wheel, but you also get a full-time rear view camera. So when you're driving down the road, if you're caught speeding and Johnny Law's behind you, you can see him with his flashers on. Now, both coaches are going to have the same system when it comes to the window coverings, and we'll see those when we get inside. The quick connect, once again, is down here below. The Truma system up above. Again, you've got that same dual, these are 20 pounds each, so 40 pounds of propane available on this coach. But do keep in mind the Truma system on both of these coaches will be running your, we'll be running your heat and, I'm sorry, I was getting hung up there. There'll be both of these, the propane will be running off your Truma, your heat and your hot water, but you do not have a cooktop running off of propane, but you are running your generator off of propane. I would say that you're far more likely to be running your generator off of propane than you are to be running your cooktop. Most of the time we're outdoor cooking, we've got fire pits, we're barbecuing, with hot dog sticks, whatever. But for those of you that are focused on having the induction cooktop, you'd have to buy one for the Ford Transit, where it comes standard on the Sprinter chassis. Now, both of these are going to have this carefree awning. As I mentioned earlier, there is an app. I have the lights turned on out here. We just wanted to show you the living room that it creates. So this is a really nice illuminated living room. Of course, if you have your fire pit sitting right here, those fire pits that are running off of your propane tanks are completely legal in places that have fire bans. So it's a very important feature to be able to carry one of those with you. But you can put one right here and sit down around your coach and hang out underneath your awning if it's drizzly or whatever, and still tell all those campfire stories and tall tales. Of course, here we also have, as in both, we've got our cable inlet, 12 volt for plugging or for pumping up those paddle boards, and then your blender station here for your margaritas, and then storage here underneath as well. And as I mentioned earlier, these are going to be BF Goodrich's versus the Toyos, but they're both going to be dualies, and both of these are going to be mud and snow rated. Of course, the Mercedes-Benz chassis is a bit of a lift on it. It's a little more beefy, and as I mentioned earlier, probably has more of a predilection to be an off-road vehicle. This storage bay is quite a bit smaller on the Mercedes-Benz, but there's a ton of storage throughout the coach, and then an additional storage bay up here gives you 2 places. So as you can see over here, we've got our seat belt. That is because this coach does actually have a side seat as well as a forward-facing seat belt, where the Transit has 2 seats next door to each other with 2 3-point harnesses. This has a single 3-point harness in the second seating configuration, along with the 2 in the front, and then it also has a sideways facing seat with a seat belt. So both have seat belts for 4. Now, as we walk in here, again, I mentioned earlier, this coach has, instead of this has an 80-inch instead of a 76-inch bed system here. Both of these have very similar configurations. So you can see you got your storage tray, you've got the little boot holder, you've got your hanging racks underneath, you've got a nice place for your wallet. Both have the Fraley mattress. I do have these installed in this coach. The windshield on this one is more towards the sun. So as you can see, that's the dark side for the inside, and then the metallic mylar backside to reflect the sun on the outside. And these are nice and insulated, folks, so they're going to actually keep you cooler. The other benefit that I say that you have in the Mercedes chassis is that you've got 2 air conditioner vents that you can actually turn on and off. so you can make those more focused on the people who are colder and hotter. You still have this nice curtain here, but as you can see, when I move this aside, we're going to talk about the table configurations. And I do want to show you this. I didn't show it to you in the other coach, but from a capacity, I mean, I'm not tall by any means, but even if I was 4 inches shorter, I still have a whole lot of room down here. I've got plenty of room to be very comfortable. And this is a very nice, comfortable bed. And then this little guy here has cup holders as well as a solid surface. And if you have a pet that you're traveling with and you don't want your pet to be in bed with you, but you want your pet to be able to be in between you, both of these configurations do not have the Froley mattress in between. On the 24R Navion, this mattress feature is in between these two. I really like that you could leave both of these cushions at home, put a little doggy bed here, or you could just have your chips and dips, your margaritas. Maybe you're sitting inside, it's raining outside, and you'll notice that there's a cable inlet here so that you can also plug in your television. And then again, USB Type-C and Type-A here with a grommet that goes through to both. Same thing goes where you have the felt-lined compartment bays. You've got the blue lights and white lights for your reading. And this, as you can see, I'm sitting up in this coach. It's really 6 foot 8 inches of overall height is really quite generous in such a small package. And one of the benefits of this product, of course, is that both of these have no slides. So there's no slide service required. I'm paying for slide service on my 40-foot Super C right now. It's not inexpensive, so it's nice to have something that doesn't require the service. Now in the EKKO on the Transit chassis, this is where the refrigerator is. So as you can see, a little different configuration. All of these, again, still those adjustable shelves. So you could keep a coffee maker here, you could keep something on the top shelf. And then again, this Greystone is not only a microwave, it's also a convection oven. So in this coach, you would not need to have a separate toaster oven. The shape of the stainless steel sink is round on the Sprinter chassis. They both still have the spray and pour feature. They both also have the bamboo cutting board on the reverse side of the sink cover. Again, both of these are going to have the Culligan water system. Your water pump on is right here. You've got your 110 outlets right here. On the Transit, you had two. You had them here and here, but here you actually have an extra drawer. And in this bottom drawer, we have something kind of cool. We have what is the cover for this drawer. So here's your true induction cooktop. But if you want to have extra counter space, or if you want to run your true induction here, this is what this cover's for. So this is, again, all of this stuff is manufactured by Winnebago, and it makes it so incredible because it can really customize how everything works. And on the note of true induction, they have one that I really like. It's got 2 burners, and then it actually has a cooktop that you can put on top of it that makes it into like a griddle. So you can make pancakes and bacon and stuff like that on there. So same bathroom configuration in both of these. We won't spend too much time looking at these because of course they are identical and we've already covered them. But just to give you a refresher, one of the things that we do here often, we do carry a faucet or a shower head in our service department. My last video I did on the 23B 2026 EKKO, I showed some of the things that you might want to have when you start your camping trip. So if you want to reference back to that, if you go to TTTRV, you can see a ton of great videos. We have a new up-and-coming star. I watched Peter C's video on the Sprinter, or on the Ford Transit chassis this morning. He does a really good job, so you might tune into his videos. He's not so personal, he's just much more informational. I'm a little goofy, but if I'm not to your like, we have a lot of really talented people here. And at TTTRV, you can find a ton of information. And then I have a station that has about 300 videos at RVs Inside Out on YouTube as well. Here's your solar charger. This little guy's here is going to be, where you're checking your gray water tank, you're checking your batteries, you're running your inverter. And again, both of these are going to have night mode on your 5.3 cubic foot compression refrigerator. The reason I mention that it's a compression refrigerator is because if you're parked on a tilt, it's still going to work. And then here, a little less space, a little more narrow here, but still very generous. There's that curtain we talked about. And then as you can see here, I just wanted to show off, look at how nice and covered this is. And these are like magnetic, so when you put them on, they actually magnet to the door. But this is really, I mean, Jody, would you not attest? It's keeping out a lot of the heat. Jody does not like being hot in these coaches. I get in a lot of trouble when I'm not running the air conditioner, like right now. But we're not gonna die. Not today. It's towards the end of August. We've got some palatable weather. All right, so as I mentioned before, you could turn that chair around and be able to, oh, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. There we go. You could turn that chair around and be able to use this table between two people. It's a little more narrow, as I mentioned earlier, but this is a power seat, so you can see it's fully elevated. I have this one up as well. So you can turn these two around. But what's interesting about this, and I'm not going to put the cover in place, there is a cover here that will help you to prevent any kind of wear from happening on your coach. But I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to go ahead and put my cover here. And now you can see, so this is the big difference between this seating configuration. So whereas when you had the Transit, you had maybe one or two people, like one here, two here, pretty narrow space. And then you had the table over here. With this area turned around, there's a few things that you can do. First of all, you can take the table and put it down here on this cleat. God, I made that video last week on the 23B and I could not remember the word cleat. I forget all sorts of random things. It's because I'm old, folks. I'm over 50, so just, you know, I am old. But I'm doing pretty good for over 50. But anyway, on the cleat, you can put the table down and turn this into a sleeping area. So this could actually sleep 3 without having the inflatable mattress that you can put up here in the front. So if you had the inflatable mattress up here, you could sleep 4. You could have one here, and then of course the 2 in the back. So Jody, why don't you go stand in the doorway? Let me get this table out. So the table leg is stored underneath here. And by the way, folks, we have a killer inventory right now. So if you're in the market for one of these coaches, please note we are restricted into what we can advertise online in terms of pricing. But man, we are making deals. We are happy to sell you a coach. Oh, see this? This is how you know the table is in the right way. If you can put the snap on, then you got the table in the right direction. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this out. I start sometimes with the table in, I start sometimes with the table out. I never really know how I'm gonna feel about it in the morning when I get here, but when you do enough walkthroughs, it doesn't really matter. So you can move this around, but check that out, man. Talk about having enough room for a nice family meal. Like you could get this all set up where you want it, have everyone, and everyone has a place to sit down their stuff. And again, this can all move around so readily. You can really kind of get it exactly where you want it depending on what your configuration is. This is probably the best configuration for 5. And then above me on the opposite side, we've got another storage area. So quite a bit of storage space, a little more room. Again, if you've got 23 versus 24.5 feet of space. And then right behind this puck light, you can see this track. This is in both of the coaches. They're tactically located all over the place. Honestly, the silliest thing is they should have one over here. They should have one right here or right here to hang your washcloth, because you can buy different kinds of hooks and apparatus to be able to hang things on them throughout the coach. So you could hang right here if you wanted to, you know, your iPad. So you could have you could cast your TV up there, have a second screen. So if you're working from this vehicle with the ability to have Starlink these days, and then also with the ability to have a generator where you can boondock. And keep in mind, both coaches have a 51-gallon gray water tank. Both of them have a 50-gallon freshwater tank. Both have a 5-gallon cassette toilet. Let me make sure I've not missed anything. 211 horsepower versus 310. So almost 100 horsepower difference between the two. This is a big deal on the freeway, you guys. If you're going to be doing a lot of freeway driving, if this is a cross-country potty, which is what we get a lot of times, somebody wants to stop and stay for a night or two, but maybe they have a house in Maryland and they've got a house in Florida. However that works, the Transit might be a better fit. But for those of you that are looking to get up into the mountains, of course, this has got a ton of ground clearance, and it's going to be a little more off-road capacity. That being said, it's 211 horsepower, 332 foot-pounds of torque versus 400 foot-pounds of torque. So again, a lot of people assume, oh, it's a Mercedes, it's going to be faster. That is not the case. This is maybe a little more dexterous. That's maybe a little more smooth, if you will. 9-speed versus 10-speed transmission, not really a big deal. Freshwater capacity, we covered that. LP capacity, we covered the 40 pounds. Fuel capacity, 24.5 gallons on this bad boy versus almost 35 on that one. So that's going to be a pretty big difference there. And then we talked about the 76-inch bed versus the 80-inch bed here. And then we also talked about the solar, 455 watts of solar versus 535. Both have an batwing awning on them. I would definitely encourage you to look at that. And if you want me to send this over to you, this is actually like the exterior height of the EKKO is 10 feet 6 inches tall. The Mercedes is 10 feet 11. The length, the width, the exterior heights both, or the exterior awning length is both 13 feet. But if you want this information, I do a ton of prep for my videos because I want to make sure that you can see everything that there is about these coaches. Sometimes it's just nice to sit down and not have to look a bunch of places to get a comparative analysis. So take a look. I've got a lot of comparisons out there. I've got pop-top comparisons. I have a comparison of the Grand Star if you're looking for a coach that might be a little bit small that gets into the state parks. There's a Grand Star versus Valencia comparison you might want to look at. I do a lot of Navion comparisons. But yeah, take a look and find me. If you can't find me, you can always call me. This is my contact information. My email address is on here. My cell phone number's on here. It's really my cell phone. I always get people who don't think I'm going to answer the phone. But yeah, no, I'm here to make sure that you have the information that you need. I'm very interested in having you have a good experience where you're getting the right coach. Oh, I didn't show this yet before we get to the stock numbers. One of the things I love, Winnebago makes this, but the fact that they have a place not to hook your dog. Your dog could just run around. That's to tie up your cooler so no one steals your beer. But no, so like I said, I really get a kick out of making sure people get a great product. This is stock number 5N250884. This is a Mercedes-Benz. This is going to be the 23B versus the Ford Transit 23A. This is 5N250831. And again, both of these are fantastic products. Both of these are really amazing for the amount of space that they occupy in the universe. My name is, again, Katie O'Neill. I'm coming to you live from Transwest Truck Trailer RV here on a very nice Thursday morning. Please let me know how I can get you out on the road and camping.